The Blackwood Curse. Hello, I am Fears Forged. I am here to help you sleep or maybe keep you awake. Tonight, I bring you a tale of unspeakable horror, a story lost to time, but whispered in fear by those who dare remember. Before we begin, make sure to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you never miss a night of fear. Now, settle in, dim the lights, and listen carefully, because once you enter Blackwood, there's no turning back. In the forgotten town of Blackwood, nestled deep in the Appalachian wilderness, stood an ancient mansion, Blackwood Manor. The house had been abandoned for decades, its windows dark, its halls silent. The locals spoke of it only in hushed whispers, saying it was cursed, that those who stepped inside never returned the same. No one knew the full story. The truth had been buried beneath time, but one thing was certain: Blackwood Manor was waiting for someone. That someone was Daniel Graves. Daniel was a journalist, a skeptic who made a living debunking paranormal myths. His latest assignment? Investigate Blackwood Manor, stay the night, and prove that the hauntings were nothing more than stories. He had done this a dozen times before: haunted hotels, abandoned asylums, cursed forests. It was always the same: creaking floorboards, drafts that played tricks on the mind, and overactive imaginations. But Blackwood was different. Daniel arrived at the edge of Blackwood just before dusk. The town was eerily quiet, the streets empty. The gas station attendant refused to give him directions. "Turn back," the old man muttered without looking up. "That place don't like strangers." Daniel smirked. He had heard warnings before, always from people too superstitious to separate fact from fiction. He got back into his car, following the old road signs, each one more rusted and broken than the last. The trees grew denser, their branches twisting together like skeletal fingers blocking out the sky. When he finally reached the house, it loomed over him like a dark omen. The gate, once wrought iron and elegant, was now bent and rusted, the stone pillars cracked with age. Beyond it, the house stood in eerie silence. The windows, black and lifeless, seemed to stare back at him. Taking a deep breath, Daniel pushed open the gate. The metal groaned as if resisting him. The air was heavy, thick with the scent of damp wood and something rotten. Inside, the house was even worse than he had expected. The grand foyer was covered in dust, furniture draped in tattered white sheets. A chandelier, once magnificent, hung above him, its crystals coated in cobwebs. The wallpaper peeled like decaying flesh, revealing the wooden bones of the house beneath. Daniel set up his equipment: a camera, an EMF reader, and an audio recorder. "All right," he muttered to himself, pressing record. "This is Daniel Graves, inside Blackwood Manor. Let's see if the legends are true." At first, there was nothing. The house was silent, save for the occasional creak of the old floorboards. But then, as the sun dipped below the horizon, the air changed. The temperature dropped sharply, his breath now visible in the dim light. Then came the whispers. Soft, barely audible, like voices carried by the wind. Daniel turned, heart pounding. "Is someone here?" he called out, his voice echoing. A floorboard creaked upstairs. Daniel hesitated before making his way up the grand staircase. The steps groaned beneath his weight, each one seeming to protest his presence. At the top, a long hallway stretched into darkness, lined with doors that stood slightly ajar. The air smelled of mildew and something older, something forgotten. He stepped into the first room. It was a bedroom, untouched for decades. A four-poster bed sat in the center, its mattress covered in dust. A vanity stood against the far wall, its mirror cracked. But what made Daniel's blood run cold was the old rocking chair in the corner. It was moving, back and forth, slowly. Daniel swallowed hard. There was no draft, no logical explanation. The EMF reader in his hand spiked. He raised his camera, snapping a picture. The flash illuminated the room for a split second, and that was when he saw it. A figure, standing in the mirror. Behind him. He spun around, but the room was empty. The chair had stopped moving. The air felt heavier now, pressing down on him. The whispers grew louder. He turned back to the mirror. The figure was gone, but something else was there now. Words scrawled in the dust across the glass. His heart pounded. He had seen enough. But when he turned to leave, the door slammed shut on its own. The doorknob wouldn't budge. Panic crept in as he yanked at it, but it was useless. Then, footsteps. Slow, deliberate, coming from the hallway. The shadows in the room seemed to shift, growing darker, reaching toward him. He wasn't alone. Then, the whispering stopped. Silence hung in the air, thick and suffocating. And then, right beside his ear, a voice low, raspy, and filled with something ancient. You shouldn't have come. The lights flickered. The air turned frigid. And Daniel finally understood. Blackwood Manor wasn't just haunted. It was hungry.